So, welcome to another Barefoot Miniatures episode where you're forced to listen to us drawl on. One of the talkies, again, one of them boring ones. I'm joined by...
David Roberts from Tales from the Old World.
Yeah, and together we're going to give a very unbiased... an unbiased review.
Of my event.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm quite judgmental about it. I won't be all...
We're getting right into the bad bits?
No.
Let's give a bit of a rundown of the
Yes.
story. So, how I understood it.
Okay, we'll see how you do.
So, Archeon the Everchosen has failed at the walls of
Just
the
dead,
Ulrichsburg.
dead on the walls.
Yeah.
Didn't quite
So,
make it.
basically, Chaos retreats and everyone goes back to the Chaos Waste and gets on for a real good time. And that real good time involves finding a new Everchosen.
Yeah.
So basically, your big boss has to prove that he's the hardest nut around.
Yeah.
Now, that is quite a good... I think that's a good story hook. Like, because if you're thinking of it in, like, story hook terms...
Yeah.
I know you're, like, quite partial to those.
Yeah.
But...
And to add on to the Lord stuff, we did things like you keep what you kill. So, like, if a Lord killed another Lord, you were able to get his magic items, even if it took you slightly above your points. So by the end of the event, some people might have some crazy combinations.
Yeah.
Like, we only did weapon, armor, and talisman, so there was no, like, nicking people's dispel scrolls and all that
Which
nonsense.
was a shame.
Yeah. So I was reining it in a little bit.
Let's talk about the players. They were all knobheads, right? No.
What a bunch of...
No, what I mean is, let's talk about the armies, basically. And rather than going over, like, who had the wackiest army or anything like that, what were your favourite armies to see at the event?
So it was good.
Because there were some brilliant ones, right?
But as another
Spoilers for the video.
Oh no, it was like brilliant. There was a really good variety as well. There wasn't just like every single... I think every race turned up. But I really liked... is it Joseph's...
Vampire Pirates?
The zombie pirates? Vampire pirates? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I've never seen them before, but
No.
but they were really well done. They were like,
Yes.
they do some really interesting models.
Well, he's a professional model maker, you know.
Is he?
Yeah, so I played him in game 4.
Is
I
he?
just got
Well, that's
talked
why
to
it's so
him.
good.
Apparently, he's making an entire zombie ship for his. So his group with him and Henry, who plays Skaven, that I played in round 2, are in the same like Mordheim group, and they're like their game.
Oh,
is
I bet
Mordheim.
that's good. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, they just
bet
got
they-
excellent
I bet they
modelling
have some-
skills, and I think it really come across in his models that he'd made.
Yeah.
His deck droppers, he had like the side of a ship.
Yeah.
Like they were all
Yeah,
stood on.
that's good,
And he
yeah.
had one of his, it fell off, and it was just a set of stairs. But actually, it worked. Like it worked as a model. But like they were all converted, like real
it's
nice
all-
to look like pirates.
Was there any Games Workshop models in there? I can't remember.
There
Was it
were
all
some,
kind of
but they were
3D?
all a hodgepodge
Yeah.
of everything. There was very few 3D printed because I asked it. I just assumed
Yeah.
that they were like, oh, it's all 3D printed.
That's what I thought they were.
No, he'd painstakingly modelled the majority of them.
Jesus,
and
well
even the
done, mate.
3D printed ones, he'd like converted manually with like pirate hats and stuff.
Oh, mate. Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, mate.
But that's it.
They were very good. Second, I also liked Tom Wood brought Chaos Dwarfs, and I know people have seen Chaos Dwarfs a lot, but his was painted proper like out the pages of White Dwarf.
Yeah.
Feel like the proper in the 90s.
Well, he's really crisp, wasn't it? Real
Really
nice,
crisp. There's no
like I
the
know,
same kind of shadowing and painting as like old proper old because there was never like an updated version of the Chaos Dwarfs with this. So my
Was that
brain
like
should be
an
painted.
old metal army, or was that 3D printed?
I think all of his dwarfs were metal, and I think his hobgoblins were printed.
Right. Oh, right. So
I think so.
yeah, and these paints I really emphasise that, I think.
Yeah.
Because I at least thought it was all the classic models.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, like that's just
don't
as
think
good
so.
actually, because it convinced
If
me
you
that
couldn't
it was.
tell, that means that's a
Yeah.
good thing, isn't it?
And it like I normally don't give props for real crisp, right? I like beaten and weathered.
Yeah, mine are all covered in crap.
Right.
But I love null oil
Yeah.
and just.
Null oil. That's so 2012.
I know, I love
Like,
it.
but like I normally like that sort of stuff. But to say that it really caught my eye is like a nice crisp
Yeah.
army that just it was really eye catching and so different. Because I've seen actually some Chaos Dwarfs. It's the first time you've seen them, isn't it? I've seen some Chaos Dwarfs before,
No, I've seen, but they're just not
those ones. Just
even his bases. The bases were like they were like they looked like pavement, and they're all exactly. And I think he did his movement trays as well.
Yeah,
all the same. It was just. I think if you go on the Tales from the Old World Facebook page, you can see some photos of it.
So I think that was one of the most successful paint jobs in that sort of style.
Yeah,
that I'd say. Like there was, like Tom with his vampire counts. Fuck you, Tom. Like I'm not saying you just cause. No, his
Lord was great.
So like from a painting perspective, like there were a few that were up there. What modelling wise did you like? So again, Tom's was really good. We know Tom. You had your Lord. It was great. I really liked Danny.
Zombie pirate.
The zombie pirates. Would you say that was
zombie dragon? So he had a zombie dragon. He had like a weird zombie dragon character. Lord.
So I really liked the zombie pirates, but I think up there as well was I played Danny in the first game, who had Lizardmen Red Host.
Hadn't he sculpted them himself?
He had fully sculpted all of his Croxigors from scratch. So no. And also, I think he's
what does that mean? Does that mean he did the 3D? He designed the 3D?
He had got a block of like Milliput or whatever he used.
No, he had. He sculpted it like old school.
He cast those so
wow.
that he could get his army.
Again, Danny, well done.
But that's it. And they looked
wow,
really
that's
good.
so much effort.
Yeah.
But
they looked really, really good.
Yeah.
It was such an unusual army because it was Red Host as well.
He had cool his Croxigors, like some of them looked like they were getting out of water. So it was like up to the waist. That was a good idea. Yeah, fair play, mate.
And to say it wasn't just a unit filler to save money, that he'd actually cast it all. Yeah. Like, he cast it all. So he could have just done it, but it looked incredible.
Yeah. And it's well painted as well, so it wasn't just the look painted.
Well, do you know what? There was a few different armies that, like, theme-wise, I thought were, like, zombie pirates. I'm saying Red Host, but actually the zombie pirates were there as well.
Yeah.
But actually, like if we're moving more into theme-wise, like, Halfling Empire army, Snotling army that I've never seen a Snotling army.
I like the Snotling army.
Oh my god!
It was just a mountain of. It was like two giants. He proper Michael Templar. He proper put himself in a pot. Because what else are you going to do? He's got like all Snotling lumps, apart from I think two giants. Is Snotling boss.
He's pump wagons.
And but pump wagons have random scatter dice direction.
Do they?
Yeah, so you just move your snot. You can't even say move your snotlings forward and get like the pump wagons around the sides because you can't tell which direction they're gonna go. But he did very well.
It was a brilliant army to see.
Brilliant army, yeah. He done really cool unit fillers with like if he didn't have enough snotlings, he put like big Yeah,
so I think
the back rank were like big mushrooms and
from the like Blood Bowl team or something. I heard him say at one point. I think.
But yeah, I really like that army. I thought it was great. Fair play to him.
Brilliant. So do you know who we've missed there as well? Phil with his War Mammoth.
Oh right. So it's Cheat turned up day 2. No. So
cheat? How did he cheat?
I'm not joking.
No, I've not seen a War Mammoth before. I was actually a bit jealous that Phil got a War Mammoth before me.
Yeah, it's like he was only there the second day, Phil.
I'm so glad.
Definitely.
Well, he played one he arrived. He had to work last minute on the first day, and he arrived. And I'm so actually glad he played Ed. Phil played Ed on the first day, and his War Mammoth got blasted off the table before.
Yeah, it's not for
before he reached combat.
Yeah. It was just dwarves just laying into him.
Yeah.
But when he turned up, though,
like machine gun pinpoint accuracy, stone throwers.
But he went up. I think the second day did he go up against a combat army, didn't he? He went up like a chaos army.
Yeah.
So there's a good photo. Another photo of his War Mammoth was against a unit. There was like some knights had hit him, some demons had hit him, and I'm sure somebody was at the back as well. And he still killed all of them or made them run.
Yeah, well, he can choose in that situation to do like trumpet, because he's like a giant, except you choose what they're going to do, and one of them is just like win +1. So he's like, if you like, I'm stuck. No one fights, everyone quits.
So how does it work with? Because I'm sure. Because how many people were technically on top of the war mammoth?
You can have up to 20, I believe, plus an aspiring champion with a war banner.
20.
Plus
That's
a lord.
a full unit on top.
Yeah, well, they don't get to fight actually in combat, but they get to throw throwing axes
a javelin
down from the top. No, just throwing axes.
Oh, okay.
It's specifically hooks, because you can't give a normal marauder unit throwing weapons, only marauder horse.
They can't throw into combat,
No.
though, can they?
I don't think so. I don't know. I've not played.
That'd be a
I've
lot.
not played his mammoth yet.
If they do,
Look out for the mammoth on the channel. It will appear.
You
at
gotta
some
have that
point.
on. Yeah. You gotta have that on.
Well, hopefully when he plays you, and like you can play for second place versus me afterwards.
I like mid-table. I'll go for mid-table.
So, are there any more like? Because we're talking the pinnacle.
The pinnacle.
The pinnacle of the event. Who else was at the pinnacle?
In terms of the armies that we like.
Yes.
There was no crap ones, which is, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think there was only one army that he was really. Was it the Empire? He was because he was just really busy. I think he just had like one unit left to paint, and I was just like, whatever. Yeah, but of course you get in. But what else he'd painted was amazing. So there wasn't a crap one. There might have been an average one. Do you know what I mean? So, but
I think that's a really good showing for a fan.
Yeah.
When I walked around, I didn't see an unpainted unit.
Yeah.
Everything I saw,
I think it was literally one little unit.
And it's all about to me, it's all about the effort rather than the end quality. If someone's put the effort in to paint their army,
if somebody just turned up going, I haven't painted my army, that might ruin it for other people. So, to be fair to him, and what was really cool for me was a lot of the people who came had totally got a new army and paint. Because the good thing was I purposely made sure that the event was in February. I think I started like advertising around September. So people had months to... And people were updating on the Facebook page and stuff like that about where we were up to. And I loved that. And that's kind of like... If somebody was showing progress and just got, I've just work and all that, I couldn't do this last year, you're just like, that's fine, mate. It's more, you don't want the lazy one who just went, I just bought this and it's all right if I play. And I'd be like, maybe not.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Maybe
not. No, I get it. So,
but I was, but yeah, Tom's vampire counts. There's a couple of good Nurgle armies, which were just the green.
Well, Matt Deary's Nurgle was really good.
His Lord is like sort of a dragon, looked like a big, creepy fly thing.
Yeah, well, he had a few, like his Marauder Horse units was
guy
like zombies riding slugs.
Slugs and snails.
Yeah, we had Richie. He had a really nice.
I liked he had like glow in the dark green, didn't he? A lot like really funky green. But
there was
Tim's High Elves. Do you know that he had multiple like
the multicolored Pegasus
and that was really cool.
And I think the one thing is there was so many there that we're going to have missed a load.
Yeah.
That just because it slips the mind.
That's right.
There was so many really good armies on that day.
And sometimes, to be fair, to say like a dwarf army, where you've got all these really colourful and big armies over here, sometimes if you actually look at the dwarves, you're like, bloody hell, the detail in it. But
no one look at Ed's army. No one look at
But it's like, but there was no... They were either armies that have been like the big ones for years and they've clearly had a lot of love over the years, or it was one purposely painted for the event. So they were all great, and thanks to everybody really for doing it. I thought it was really cool. I really appreciate it.
So shall we get on to how the actual nuts and bolts... so shall we get on to how the event actually ran?
How it ran? I thought it was a success, and I got a success, but there's always things you could improve.
No, it was... Right, let's start. Let's do the compliment sandwich.
Go on.
I really liked you as a person.
Oh, there you go, nailed it.
I know, it's what we all wanted to hear.
Yeah.
No, I thought it just like incomplete broad things. Like just, so you guys can turn off the video straight away, right? Because you'll get cut right through like no one else does, right? Come here for the real truth.
The harsh reality of Warhammer.
Exactly. No, but I think it was a really good event overall.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a different theme. I think you had done some things. You've done some things that some of the other events do. Throw down there. No, I think you'd addressed some of the issues in other events that people have been having. That were just, I would term very minor, but I could see that you'd made an effort to address them.
It was little things like I could say they're little. I'd say they were, to me, they were personally big. You can tell what bothers people. I try to avoid, and to be fair to other event organisers, it takes a lot of work to basically, I tried my best to make sure, and I think I succeeded, that nobody played the same type of race twice. They didn't play anybody of their own race that they were playing, and they weren't playing anybody in their group of mates that they were coming up with.
Yeah.
So that did take me like 2 days to Joe with the numbers coming down my face and all that for like 3 days. But I was quite proud of that bit, to be fair. Because and I know, and now I know how hard it is to organise an event. That kind of like that I had been to events where I played, like I've had days where I played High Elves 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yeah.
No, I will say I didn't play any race twice.
Yeah.
So
the only one
there was successful in that.
There was a lot of, I think, there was core people might have had other Chaos armies, but they wouldn't have had 2 Nurgle armies. They wouldn't have had 2 Slanesh ones. You might have had 3 Chaos armies, but you would have got a Khorne, a Nurgle, and that's only because about 50% of the armies going were Chaos armies.
Well, that leads me nicely into the middle of the compliment sandwich.
The shit sandwich, let's call it.
The shit sandwich. I think it was a bit too Lord focused. And I think this is going to be a multi-tiered sandwich where we do a few different things.
Yeah.
But I think it may have been a bit too Lord focused, like I think 1,000 points. So it was basically one thing that I think came of that may have been unintended, but I think, and like with you saying there's many Chaos armies, there is lots of Chaos armies.
Yeah.
And that's because they're just the toughest nuts around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as the story bit, it fit in with the story quite nicely, right? But it became very Lord heavy. Like I had 1,000 points of my army in Lord.
Yeah.
And it slightly rewarded the winners in a way that you'd not structured the event to be a tournament. And I think that's in a good way.
Yeah. So there was still a win. There was still a definitive winner at the end of it. But yeah, I was
so you don't say I give my guess an easy time.
but no, it's still a winner at the end of it. But you're right in terms of I didn't want there to be. You wanted people to have fun at the end of the day. It wasn't like a let's hammer. It's just as if
no, and I think so.
It definitely wasn't one of those win at all costs. Let's bring so there was. I quite enjoyed a lot of the generals were like, well, I could bring this, but everybody would hate me if I did. So I've gone with the more fun option.
You say no one brought a Tzeentch Lord on Dragon with a 3-up war.
There was one twat who did. Can't remember his name.
And the Staff of Change.
Somebody without feelings or soul did that.
This guy. I think he succeeded on the fun part of it.
Yeah, that's all that matters to me, to be honest.
Yeah, and that is like because after that point, like I've said it's a good event at the start.
Yeah.
We're then talking about minutiae.
Right?
Yeah. After everything past that point, and that's why it was a bit like boom, event recap done. Like, everything's minutiae past that point. So the feedback of that bit would be maybe a bit too Lord heavy. It fit in the story nicely.
I think
on the minutiae of it.
Yeah.
Because say I played a Skaven player Henry in the second game, and he was top laugh.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. And actually, his mate Joseph had the same problem playing vampire pirates that looked excellent.
Yeah, you don't see them a lot. It's really cool seeing
that. But both of those have a terrible Lord choice. I suppose he could have taken a Skaven Warlord rather than a Greyseer. But in taking a Greyseer on Bell, Henry had you were forced to accept a challenge, and I got 1,000 points for winning.
That was a rule. Yeah, you weren't allowed to refuse.
And my dragon fights in that challenge.
Yeah. So it does. It really does hinder.
How do you respond to the criticism of the masses?
No. It does hinder the non-combat. The magician lord rather than the
except the Tzeentch magician.
Yeah, because of the point, we got a lot more point. You got a lot more points if a lord killed a lord, because that was the whole thing. It's supposed to be
because it proves they're the champion,
last one standing type guy. But so if you've got a Greyseer on it, but that Chaos Lord and the Dragon is coming for your Greyseer.
Yeah.
So that is a bit of but yeah. Now I was also trying to make it. I was making it lore heavy as well because I was trying to think of ways that like people with well, I've got a high elf army, I've got a dwarf army. They're not chaos, but am I not allowed to go? So I quite like the way. I think most people did it who had like a good army. Is like you've got to paint your lord up to make him look a bit corrupted, as if like you could argue that it doesn't all his army see that he's corrupted, but it's supposed to be like what he looks on the inside, or he's kind of like he's secret.
Like the refraction clack.
Yeah,
the refraction clack.
Something like that.
Reflection cracked.
So he's telling them we're going to the Chaos Waste to wipe out them all, where really he's going to try and become chosen.
Well, I suppose
quite like that, but
the elves could be worshipping Cain, which is actually Khorne in another aspect.
Well,
Boom.
Done. That's gonna get some
You welcome, high elves.
So, but it was like some really cool. Like William painted like a dwarf lord who like his skin looked all painful, so he was like going a bit cool. I really like that. So, but yeah, if you start working out, if you really tank up your Chaos Lord, the guys who did well in the event were the ones with tough lords.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Well, it needed to be a bit for the event. It's just so so there's the feedback, right, and then there's the like random suggestion by someone who you should have no input, right? You should have no input, and maybe just reward the losers a bit more. Or not reward the losers, but give something to tone up the losers.
Give them a chance somehow.
Yeah, and which
we did give out a wooden spoon. Whoever got the wooden spoon got a nice 3D printing voucher.
I mean, in-game bonus.
I know.
In-game bonuses.
I think it's
so
more
like extra magic item allowance or something that like
your
guy goes away and suffers through his perils. And
I was trying to do the, if most people play Total War. Do you know, like in Total War, when your lord gets killed, he just gets wounded.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think that's ridiculous. But maybe if you're not doing well, you maybe get a new lord comes in as like his underling is that was also kind of corrupted, comes in and he comes in a bit more buffered. Do you know what I mean? He comes in a bit more something like that.
No, I think it's just something to think about, so you don't get this. Because I know you didn't want to go with like a Swedish matching system or anything like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
because it's also nice playing that range of people.
Yeah. There was also a bit of selfish stuff in there. I did find some little matchups I wanted to see. Like I didn't even think about it. I wanted to see William Legg's Dwarves versus Tom Wood's Chaos Dwarves, which is just something I'd always wanted to see.
Yeah.
But you forget how I think they only like turn 3. They were like finally hitting they were just shooting the hell out of each other because their little legs couldn't march very far. It was so it was a bit of a stalemate, which is still fun for me to watch. But that's a fair point. In terms of next events, it'll be. I'm trying to keep the story going, so it's like there has been crowned another ever chosen. So now it's all about some people go on his side. There's some people hate the fact they became it.
Yeah. So are you going to add more narrative?
Yeah.
Do you know what narrative like driving forces? Because also I know. What narrative driving forces did you have at this event? And I'll tell you whether they were good or not.
So all right. So at this one. So I've tried to make the event kind of you don't have to come and find me to go.
Yeah.
So what am I doing next? So it's pretty much. It was more. They were all pitch battles. There was no 1v2s or 2v2s.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a big fan of 2v2s as a player, to be honest.
They're just that bit slower, aren't they?
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, well, I didn't want to do that, but you're thinking of you covering the other guy or whatever. And often they take a lot longer than they should. But
well, you introduced the random elements, didn't you?
Yeah.
To the table. I thought they were actually really successful.
So there's 2 big random things. So there were pitch battles 1-on-1. But you roll to see a scenario in terms of like, because I was thinking you go into Chaos Waste and the environment's changing. So I think off the top of my head, one was like, just called it Rage, which is like everybody has hate, everybody has frenzy.
Hatred, frenzy.
And blood greed.
Yeah.
So if you chase anybody. I had another one which was Magical Surge. So everybody gets +1s to their spells and easier to get off. Dispels are harder to do. magic users cause terror, stuff like that.
You had acid rain, which is -1 to everyone's armor saves, and everyone gains poison.
Oh, that was rust. Yeah, that was it was a toxic. So it was kind of like it also everybody's weapons became poisoned, including shooting.
Yeah.
I
had that against the Skaven
did
player,
you?
I think it was.
Really? There was a gravity one where the gravity had been a bit lighter, so
yeah, I got that one as well.
You get like +1 strength. Great weapons don't have to go last. I think you could shoot further.
I got that against zombie pirates.
Oh, did you?
He was really useful to my fast car army.
And I think the last one was a comet. So I was saying like you roll to see at the beginning of each turn. There's the center. You roll the scatter dice, and I think it was 4d6. And any direction he goes, and there's a big template smash.
Yeah.
And I think that did a lot of damage to people.
Yeah. No, so I think how they actually turned out,
Yeah.
do you know, as much as the minutiae of the details,
Yeah.
like how they turned out, I think worked really well. Like it,
and I was
sometimes it like balanced it more one way than the other, because like obviously that's just going to happen with random events. But I think people were very good with realizing these are just narrative elements.
Yeah, that's right.
And agreeing to either play a different one or putting like on either.
For example,
agreeing to play a different one, re-rolling or.
So there was the last one I didn't say, which was fog, which meant kind of like it was surprise deployment when we put something in the middle, but it was also half shooting.
Yeah.
And lots more d6 on your scatter dice if you shot artillery like into the white. So if you're like, as you were saying, if you're like a dwarf army or an elf, like your shooty army, it kind of knackers you. So you can't really be upset about I got that one. And I think I really like the way that there wasn't any of that. And I actually encouraged, look, if you don't like your roll, if your opponent would rather pick one, just pick one. And I hoped later on in the day when people had done a few, people were definitely picking the one they hadn't.
Well, there were some ones that just knackered the enemy army. Right? So I think we originally got against the Skaven. The royal we. I originally got against the Skaven. That fog one, and he's just, I've got a chaos army, and you've got a Skaven army.
Yeah, that's rough.
So we re-rolled it and got the frenzy one.
Yeah.
And it's just knowing, I think, to have that freedom to just be like, let's just. There's not going to be a game involved in this if we do one way or the other.
No, and that's where I think everybody got that. It was just, look, these are supposed to, and I was actually saying, look, if you and your opponent actually were like, I actually would rather just have a game. Just have a game. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. It was none of that. I think it was more.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
I think it was
you
good
provide the framework, and then people can use it or not, right? Is
I think,
any skin off your back if people actually play by those?
Okay. Again, if they leave having fun, that's all that matters. I think actually because I think the veteran players actually really liked it because it was really new. And but the new guys did as well in a weird way because it's definitely no other event because I came up with those ones. So at least
no other event has ever done this.
Done those scenarios. Most of them, you can say, but
the scenarios.
They're not really scenarios. They're more
the weather effects.
Yeah, the weather effects. So you can. I know in the Albion campaign there was some kind of rain.
So one thing I don't like about what I liked about yours. And don't like about the Albion ones. Most of the Albion ones are just weighted entirely against shooting armies.
Yeah.
And yours gave some of them just had like say the acid rain or rust one.
Yeah.
That actually helped shooting armies. So it wasn't all just stacked against shooting armies.
So that was kind of the point. So it's like, fog is going to knacker some shooting ones.
Yeah.
But if they get the gravity one where they can shoot further and actually I think it actually hits harder as well because there's no gravity. And as you say, the toxic one makes them all. So, I tried to make it so each out of the 6, one is going to knacker every army. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The worst comes to the worst, you're going to get hit by a big friggin' meteor if you get everything else. So, but I think it was a good level of that. It was purposely, I don't know how well executed it was, but I wanted some to knacker some and others to be a benefit to others. And that's why I thought if at the end of the day they got 5 games through the weekend and there was 6 choices. So do you know, they might be unlucky and miss the one that that actually helped them. But that was kind of the plan.
So the other one is you also painted up a load of demon princes and big
Greater
creatures.
demon, yeah. So we did this, but this was the fun part of it because the randomness. If you enjoy randomness,
We got to tell what it is.
I'm down.
So-
I'm building
jump
up to
into
it.
it, jump
You have
into
some
it, man.
dramatic. So we did the beginning of every turn. You roll a dice. If you got a 6, a greater demon of my choosing turned up.
Yeah.
You roll the scatter dice to see what table edge you come from, and then you have his power dice. So if they're level 4, so. You know, and Be'lakor was there. So Be'lakor made, instead of a greater demon, we had a demon prince, we had a chaos lord.
When you say Be'lakor, Be'lakor showed up and really did me in.
He did.
So in my third game, I think it was,
Death.
against Alex Simmons, who was playing Khorne, I really thought I had him. And honestly, I really thought I had him. We started out with the Rust one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've not got any armour anyway, I'm a fast guy army.
Yeah.
He had 4 blocks of Khorne because he borrowed some stuff to play the game. Big Khorne unit with his general in. I had my Dragon Lord who could just go over there if he didn't want to get charged and just cast spells. So we re-rolled it, got the fog deployment.
Yeah.
I still deployed quite well even in the randomness.
Yeah.
And then Be'lakor appears turn 1.
Turn 1?
Turn,
Was that turn 1?
Or maybe turn 2, early, mate.
Yeah.
Right.
You
On his turn
moved.
2 because I
You
just about
definitely
moved.
moved.
I just about moved enough that he could squeeze Be'lakor in behind my knights. Right, so Be'lakor turns up, shows up on a random board edge,
And he could
right
charge.
behind a unit of 6
They
Chaos
can,
Knights.
They can charge when they pop, and they disappear after 1 round. So they can come on, charge, and they just pop to see what
Well, he
damage
charges
is.
the knights, right? He makes them flee in terror, right? He runs them down, and the run direction took him into a unit of dogs, and I think then he killed all the dogs and disappeared. But in the magic phase, he cast with irresistible force.
Oh, seriously?
Fog of Death. That to my cavalry army did D3 strength 3 hits to all
every single unit in your army.
Which then made 2 fast cav units run off.
Oh, that's rough. But I'm good with that.
It balanced out the game really nicely. I think we ended by turn 4. But that game was gonna be, I was gonna run circles around him, and it wasn't gonna be a fun game for
him.
Yeah.
Because you're staying out of combat. It's a Khorne army as well, and
whereas it balanced it out in a really nice way.
Yeah.
That there was the clutch moment. My dragon was in the rear of his Chaos Knights, charged his lord. His lord couldn't fight in the first round, so he's like, if he fails his test, do you know what I've done his lord?
Yeah.
And he passed it, and he turned around and just butchered my lord, right? But without that moment of the randomness of the greater demons and the fog
actually helped in a way.
everything.
Without that to
balance it, it would have just been an unenjoyable game for him.
Yeah.
And a bit of a roll-in for a stomp for me. Whereas it gave that risk, there's a bit of a chance gambling element to a game where you're rolling the dice. You've got to have a fear of losing to really have fun with the game.
So
it's like the game that we've just played today that will be available on the Bearfoot Miniatures channel in some time in the future.
Yeah.
That game, that had a real element of fear to losing for both of us.
Yeah.
So that's why that made it a good game.
And actually...
And it's the same.
And through the weekend, people started to keep things away from the side of the table so nothing could charge it. So it actually became the tactic to
demons
look out
all
for.
have wings. They're all charged 20 inches.
Keeper Secrets doesn't.
Keeper Secrets does.
It doesn't fly.
Yeah, it does.
No, the Lord of Change. Are you thinking of?
Oh yeah,
The Slanesh goes and the Great and Clean one doesn't.
Why is the Keeper of Secrets called the Keeper of Secrets?
Because
surely the one that knows everything would be the Keeper of Secrets.
He knows everything creepy that you do. So if you don't do what I tell you to, I'm going to tell everybody about your.
I'll tell everyone you're into Japanese fart porn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. So I really like that. One thing that I would give feedback on that one, because remember this is the compliment the compliment Big Mac at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. So on the we're on the second layer of meat of the Big Mac.
Yeah.
And it might get bigger. I think they should have stuck around a bit longer. So the one turn it could have just. I know it could have just been ridiculous, but also it could have been ridiculous. And it could have been just amazing, horrific things that happened because of it.
But it's too horrific.
No, it don't
So
matter.
I like to say thanks to Ed, Tom, and Matt because they play tested some of the scenarios. And originally they stayed for 2 turns.
Yeah.
But you send a bloodthirster on, it can get through your army in a couple of turns, essentially.
It could have just been like randomly he stayed on. Like on a 4+, he stays for another turn. And it's always controlled by the winner of a dice roll for that turn. So it doesn't always stay on the same person.
That's more interesting.
He just goes like mental at the closest unit or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially Bloodthirster, Frenzy, bam, he's into the next unit.
I also wanted an element of, I got away with that. Do you know what I mean? It's like one came on, didn't do anything and left. So I did actually want I didn't want them to come on and wipe things out every single time.
Right, I'm very much a person of like, had a good idea. Now push into that idea.
No, but
lean into the skid, Dave.
I think that would annoy people. I think literally because some people got away with it, but then didn't in another game. If you roll 6 and somebody comes on and a unit's going at least, do you know what I mean? There's still the gamble. The gamble
that wasn't my experience with it. I had 3 games.
Yeah.
One of which the Greater Demon came on and like bent my army over.
Yeah.
But like, made it a good game?
Yeah.
2 games where the Greater Demon came on, and it was just like, well, there's no possibility of that demon doing anything.
But I'm alright with that. But he's still.
But the guy rolled a 6 to get it on.
But and
he wants to do something.
But they're also level 4 wizards, so they're adding more dice.
Agree to disagree.
You could come on and wipe somebody out with some, but you could come on and change the. I just wanted them to come in and nudge the game in a direction.
I think you're worrying about too much about people's feelings getting hurt.
Yeah, but then you're not having fun anymore. So at the end of the day, I just wanted them to have. So
it's the same gamble. It's the same gamble. I don't know why I'm so into the word. Describing it as a gamble.
I don't mind the concept of if it does stay on, then it's like a gamble at who controls it. Then, rather than the same guy keeps it.
Yeah. I just think we're in the Chaos Ways. Do you know what I think you should do? You were lazy only painting like 15 Greater Demons. That's what I think. What you should have
done. That was the other thing as well.
What you should have done is had full demon units from the Storm of Chaos. You need like 15,000 points of demons from the Storm of Chaos for this idea, right? Paint all of them so that they're fully painted at your event.
Yeah, I've got 2
demon armies coming across the table. Like it's no one's business.
Full army.
Yeah, like turn 6, it's like swamp the board. But extra units rather than just Greater Demons. Staying around for longer, maybe that's where the sticking around for longer happens.
So I was actually considering things
as you bind them
to the next one.
As you bind them to your will as the Ever-Chosen, you're attracting these followers, and that doesn't have to be based on winning games or anything.
I've got
just on a random element. Oh, I've just spoiled it. Well,
no. You got something on those lines for the next one.
Binding people to
I don't think us. Yeah, maybe watch this space until I work it out properly. But it might be.
Do you bind other people that you beat to your own army?
It's more things pop in that aren't just single things and stay around longer, maybe until the end of the game.
Right. So you're gonna add new things to that event. Let's just switch complete.
Okay.
Completely. What did you think about the actual structure and running of the event? So I really liked the Vale as a venue.
The Vale and
I think it was a good amount of space. Mm-hmm. Like
they didn't
you got the people in. It wasn't crowded.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I was looking for. It's amazing how everybody wants you out at 5 o'clock, and the problem with Warhammer is sometimes we never know when it's going to finish. Little things like toilets. It's weird how some like gaming stores will have some tables where there's no toilets and we can only have X amount of people.
No toilets.
Yeah, some of them.
No toilets. I've been to places where there's like horribly grotty toilets.
Yeah, some don't. And I was like, I was looking in because I live in Liverpool, so I was looking at Liverpool.
We never tell from your accent.
I haven't got a Scouse accent. I haven't got the accent.
Right.
And plus, I'm not Scouse. I just live there. So it was I don't. It ticked all the boxes. So
Yeah.
people could leave their stuff in there because then it had shutters and a security alarm. If people, I think a lot of people, you still take your stuff, wouldn't you? But if they wanted anything, we were kicked out at a certain time. They were really helpful, everybody at the Vale, in terms of it was a nice. It had a little kitchen, so we could serve. We just put a kettle out, help yourself to a cup of tea or coffee. That was really cool.
No, I think it's a good one for anyone that's looking to run their own events, and especially like fancy a niche event like sort of type. It's a good list to look out for, because you can get these event centres like community centres, things like that. That so long as you've got the terrain to put down, like you can get almost a better.
There's a big but on that.
Yeah.
When you go to like a gaming store or something like that, they have all of the tables, all of the mats, and all the terrain. Yeah. So you were really good enough to help me with the terrain, and I got some of my own.
Sponsored by the Bearfoot Miniatures channel.
But I had to buy I could have hired them.
Yeah.
But I bought 28 tables and 14 maps. Yeah, 14 or 15 mats. Yeah. Which is obviously, that's all of the tickets that have gone. So if you're thinking of it as a business thing, and plus the place to hire is £600 for the weekend. Yeah. So just because there's not all the events are fucking miles away from the north, and they do not.
That is one thing to say.
I'm always like 3 hours to South Wales. To the Midlands is usually the nearest one, but fuck it, there's doing Liverpool, Manchester, and was it Simon and that they came up from Newcastle?
Yeah. We've gone well far off topic.
You know what I mean? We've gone. So, no, it's something to think. If people are thinking of doing events, maybe where we are was good for a lot of people who, even though randomly people came from Ireland, Essex, London. Yeah. But there was a couple of guys who came from Newcastle. Like, they got lots of events. There's the guys around Manchester that don't travel.
There are people like everywhere. Yeah. But who's around Manchester that doesn't travel? I suppose me now.
I think a couple of the guys. Well, no, I think guys who just don't go to events a lot. Or they can't. They've got kids. They can't go all the time. I think there was like Tim, a high elf player. He's just had a baby, so he can't go spend. Do you know what I mean? But he can come to that, pop home, still look after the kid, come out. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah. Well, having events at different places in the country, like as much as having lots of events in one place, having a range of events all around is definitely a bonus for the scene in general.
Yeah, for the community as well, and you just can't choose. Do you know what I mean? People, the more choice the better. Because there's a couple like I know there's an event that a lot of people like in. I think it's called Canterbury Tales or whatever. It's just the other side of the country for me. I just can't make it.
It's just near undoable. Right. So we've said what I would improve about the event. That I've sort of done the compliment Big Mac. What would you yourself improve about the event, Dave?
So, one thing about the venue, the lore-wise, or just actually the running of the event type thing? Just say in terms of the story and the games, or the running of the event?
Sort of both. So the lore and the games. So the running, I suppose that's three things. Yeah. The lore, and maybe even communication of the lore.
So
the games and the event, because they're all three important, almost separate factors.
So
what can people expect in the next event that they didn't get on this one, I suppose?
Right. So I think
what's tightened up?
Some at least information about lunch, because there's no lunch nearby in the Vale.
Yes.
But the game.
Well, that's not something I think you could have I suppose you could have foreseen.
I should have given people a heads up of what to do lunch rather than, because some people expect lunch. Some people, I'll go out and get lunch, but there's not a lot near the Vale.
Well, I think I know you've organised things before, like for work. Yeah. But this was your first gaming event, and you focused quite a lot on making sure people had a good time. At the event as an event. Yeah. And you were doing it as a one-man band, really. So I think it's just having someone there to help. Yeah. Is just like when I run an event, it's not me running an event, it's me and Phil running an event. Yeah. And that is just having like a dog's body.
It did help when you came and give us some help here and there, because I appreciate it. So
it's even like at mine and Phil's events, I've had to run out before to get some extra core matting. For the fields, because we didn't have enough terrain. What can we do last minute? Go out and get even just stuff like that, because there's always going to be something crop up.
No, you guys sent me that, because you gave me a lot of help. Tom and Ed and all that give us a lot of help as well, in terms of not everybody had to come to me for rules. If anybody else is doing an event, it's always good to have other people just like rules judge, so they can go and ask them. I try to do the honour system where if you can't agree, don't bother arguing. Talk to the guys next to you. If they don't know the answer, then find the rules. They want it to be called rules czars, so fine, you can be called that.
Rules tyrants.
Yeah, tyrant's a good word. So that was really helpful. Honestly, the games itself, I was quite happy with how they turned out. The scenarios and everything like that. There's always, but everything. There was no big disaster, which was great. So
I think that's
it was
real
more
big
little
positive.
tweaks, giving people information where you can either give them an option for lunch or bring your own lunch.
Hey, mate,
Timings maybe, but that often can't be.
If those two are the biggest problems with the event, which I agree with you.
Yeah.
Those were the biggest problems with the event. If those are the biggest problems with the event, you ain't got a problem.
That's
really.
right. There was
really.
There was no arguments. There was no. There's nobody getting too stroppy when he lost. There's no. And you always hit because if anybody's watching this who's never been to an event. We all, for some reason, and I know it happened because you've definitely seen it, because I remember we talking about it, but there's always talk of these monster
people,
knobheads that are just horrible, just like different, cheating. I've never come across that. Everybody in the Warhammer community in 6 has been really supportive to me, and I've never really seen it.
I've not really come across anyone like purposefully cheating.
I think it might be the event.
I've more come across like someone digging their heels in. And I've not really. Do you know what?
Being stubborn.
I've not even really encountered it one-to-one in a game. I've just witnessed it.
You've just seen it, yeah.
Yeah. So,
like I tend to go to Alex Storch's Resurrection. They always run really well. I've never seen it there. I've been to a couple of others. So you can maybe argue that type of happens if the event's not run well, or at least
I think it's just random chance.
Yeah. Well,
I think you had a real good bunch of players at this event.
It was a good.
Well,
I did hammer home.
A good atmosphere.
I was trying to hammer home at the beginning. All of the info packs, all of the marketing, all the posts about it was like, if you're a win at all costs, you want to win a tournament. This is not the event for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you want to come and everybody wants to win. I want to win every game I play, but I enjoy it when I lose as well because I learned something and you've had a good game.
Yeah.
If you're not that guy, these events.
Well,
are not
almost
for
you've got to try and win to make your opponent feel their own time is valued even.
Yeah.
Like, do you know, like, from an even base perspective of it, it's not a game if you're throwing it.
No.
Like, if you're throwing the wit, like, it's just not a game.
Yeah.
It's just a story you've played out from one side.
But it wasn't like round 1 or 2. But I think it was just... that was, again, the worst that happened here. I think it was just like, oh, I've lost.
But that happened. It's almost, I think... It's come in with like it's a StarCraft mentality of like, oh, GG, bro, in a bit.
Yeah.
But
which is fine.
You sometimes don't want to play out like because you're in such a bad position. So I sort of get it.
And
because there's always that time.
And it is a bit heartbreaking when you're getting hammered.
Well, it's the best way. I think my favourite way to put it is there's that time where it becomes the grisly mop up, and.
When you feel guilty as you're charging into the back of everybody.
There's the grisly mop-up time.
So it's like the guy winning isn't really enjoying it because he feels bad, and the guy losing.
Yeah.
That's
like
that's
all of our games, Dave.
That's when you're getting hammered.
Oh yeah. How would you know the experience of that?
Well, that's not fair. No, so yeah, and I think that got across well, and I think when I kind of knew. Maybe a third of the people coming.
Yeah.
I've seen at other events, and because I knew what they would like, and I know that they would be on the same wavelength as me, as the bunch it would be no bull. The kind of guys that are just like want to enjoy it and probably have no bullshit for an arsehole turning up. So if you're, you've got to take a plunge. If you don't go to events, you've got to take the plunge. And the beauty of it is expect an arsehole to turn up, and then you're pleasantly surprised when one doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Rather than everything's great, everything's fine, and then you do meet that one arsehole that nobody meets.
Well, that's it. There's very few events where there's not at least one person.
Yeah,
but I think we might close it out there. Like it was a real good event. Like we saw.
Good event.
Just because we've gone on now for about an hour.
Sorry, there's a good bunch of guys. Everybody was in great spirits. Everybody brought lists that weren't destroy. It was like, I'm going to mix some things up. And everybody was really game with the scenarios. There was no, oh, I'm not doing that. It was all, yeah, let's do it, let's try it. And then, yeah, if it works or not, wait. So overall, could things be tweaked? Yeah, of course it could.
Well, this is my review of your event.
But,
What's going on, Dave? It all needs rewriting. Yeah, but if you...
End of the day, a good thing I did mention, people turned up. That was a nice part of it.
It's always fun when that happens.
Yeah.
But, yeah, things need tweaking. I cut you off there.
No,
we'll actually get your thoughts on it.
No, that's right. It's general success, which, again, it's my first one. So it's kind of like it's all about
one.
Yes. It's just looking at when's the best to do it. So it's trying to find time. Because I get that most people come to events to go get the hotel and all that, so there's an expense coming.
But
It's not just the ticket.
You don't know when it is, but where can people find out about your event if one is coming out?
Okay, the easiest thing is on Facebook. Follow Tales from the Old World. So you'll see that's where you'll see our podcasts that we've done and things like that. But that's where we'll be updating everybody in terms of updates on what's coming up, dates to look out for, tickets.
Do you want to drop me a link so I can put it below?
Yeah.
So there will be a link below in the description.
Yeah.
Description, that's what it's called.
That's right.
Yes.
And talesfromtheoldworld.com as well. So I'll give you the Facebook link on the website.
Yeah. So if you want fantasy content, go to there. And if you really liked watching event reviews, well,
This was great.
That's what funny people might like it. If you really like watching event reviews, as well as just like general banter, there is a like, comment what you liked, and a subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time. In a bit.